every step of the operation is already tested elsewhere, but never together in one single process. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Back to Kevin.
Thanks very much, Keith. Yeah, thanks very much. Really interesting talk. And I wasn't aware of so much salt being produced in these plants. I knew there was a lot, but not to that level. Can you tell me what is the time frame for the desalinated brine to be brought back to seawater salt content? How long does that take?
That is the major question that we want to answer, because there isn't still an accurate value. It's something we have to still investigate to prove that it's actually a viable project. But it is expected to be something slow, because phytoremediation does take its time. But something that can only be tackled with economies of scale, of course.
And have you thought about the process flow in terms of how much brine is being produced per day, per week, coming out of the plant? Mm-hmm. How much brine can you remediate? Mm-hmm. And does that indicate to you the size of the lake that you need to grow in order to be able to deal with that? Yeah.
It is challenging. There's still not enough data to have an accurate value, of course. But unfortunately, it is large. It will be very large. So we see it more as a way to tackle the problem, but not a solution for the entire problem. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much. Very interesting.
Lena. You're mute, my dear.
I had the same question as Kevin, but I would like to add your green salt as an add-on product. I would recommend that you look a little bit into what is done in Slovenia, where they have such kind of green salt products, and maybe you can get an idea which is unique from what the type of salt you would like to market, which is a little bit different from, but just to look into that as an inspiration.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Manfred. And once more, you're mute.
I withdraw. This was.
Oh, an error. Okay, sorry.
No.
Just one from my. I wrote down in my personal comments. This sounds too good to be true, and then it usually is.
Yeah. Totally.
So you have to do an algae fermentation. Basically, you have to do the growth of zeekraal, as we call it in that horrible language of ours. It's nice to eat, actually, but very different is that the outlet channels and the retail that you say, oh, we're going to sell it to retail. No way. You know, if you want to sell it, you go to restaurants in the first place, because there is where they don't care if it's like 10% more expensive than anything else that they used to buy. Then you go into the logistics of the operation. It is a fresh product, which is not that long, very fresh. So you have to chill, you have to package, you have to do all that kind of elaborative manual work. So labor cost will be of paramount importance. I didn't see that in any cost calculation. And then what I simply don't know, I've been to Portugal many times, but I never saw it on a dish. Do you guys eat it, or?
It is still rare.
It's quite rare. It's quite rare to find it somewhere.
It's rare. Well, you saw Lena smiling. The Danish and the Dutch do eat it, but that's a long way from Portugal, unfortunately.
Yes, so. But we do know of some production companies here in Portugal, and we do export to other countries. So it is possible that what the Danish eat is actually ours. we, for instance, visited a company in Aveiro, Horta da Ria. They grow it in
the salt marshes there.
Exactly, in the salt marshes. It's regular agriculture, of course, but it proves that it works. There is plenty of room for it. There's also already an hydroponic siliconia company in Algarve, but it's just for the regular growth, and they use normal water.
There is one obviously in a greenhouse in the Netherlands with the name Coppert Cress. And he just throws the seeds into a small blue plastic bin with some cellulose in the bottom, and that is sold as a whole. So you don't run into the problem of actually having a plant that you have to pick the fresh leaves from, which is, labor work is terrible. Lena, come back in again.
Yeah, I just want to say that, Kees, you said it's almost too good to be true. I could also add the other way around. There will be so many more areas in the world in this desertification period where we will have much, much more salt and too much salt. So I think there is a structural and in climate change, a real benefit in someone starting to look at how can we control and benefit from this salt circulation.
Okay.
And there's also the bonus of considering that they are halophytes. They can be grown on land that has been not only desertified but saltified, because the increase in the sodium content of the underground itself is also one problem usually associated with desertification. So
that was what I meant. Exactly.
And the regular
crop
that essentially cleans the land.
Anybody from the audience, colleagues, students, do you have a question for the team from Portugal? This is your chance for 10 minutes of fame. I see no hands. This is really scary, I suppose. We can be mean, but we never bite, None. Okay, well, then this is it. We go for a break. Yeah, Rafi is in there. Go ahead, Rafi.
Yes, thank you for your presentation. I just want to clarify in the beginning that you mentioned that you are using algae, and I suppose you are using in tubes that can transmit the light. How are you managing the biomass? Do you have to recover the biomass all the time that you are using them to recover the salt?
Essentially, yes. Because the salt itself is extracted exactly because it is inside of the algae. So the extraction of the algae is the extraction of the salt itself. So once
to separate the media from the algae biomass, we can use the media again to produce the silicon and grow them in the hydroponic systems.
Exactly. And actually in hydroponics, the growth of algae is actually a problem because it starts growing where we don't want it. So in our case, we can just join the two things together. It will be growing there already, so we might as well have it grow what we want.
So you use the sunlight to grow the biomass anyway. So it's depends. So they will cover the walls of the bioreactor that you're using.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's usually an issue of this kind of technological inventions. That's why I asked. Thank you.
Okay, a brave man, Rafi. Well done. We go for a break now. Thank you all. See you back at 1300 sharp. Well, the team from Greece, are you ready? Vasiliki.
Hello.
Hi, Flora, I see you.
And Vasiliki is going to be ready in a minute.
Okay. You can start and share your screen. Cool.
Hi, we had the problem with the camera, but we can fix it now.
Okay.
Can you hear us? Yes.
We can hear you. Please
Thank you.
come in with your.
Share the presentation.
Yeah. Is the presentation? It's coming.
Can you see the presentation?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So, hi everyone. We are Green to Pack from Greece, and today we'll present our project, which is a upcycling green process for the development of novel bioplastics, the case study of olive leaves valorization. Every year, the world produces over 350 million tons of plastic. This overwhelming volume has a devastating impact, polluting our oceans and damaging ecosystems. Here in Greece, we face an equally pressing issue. Our country alone generates around 450,000 tons of olive leaves annually. More than 23% of the total CO2 emissions during olive oil production come from the burning of these residues. This is where the problem stands. On the one hand, we have the world drowning in plastic, and on the other, we are missing an opportunity to address both waste and CO2 emissions. The reality is that plastics dominate the packaging industry, yet the bioplastics we do have lack in mechanical properties, limited scalability, and have prohibitive costs. The solutions currently available simply aren't good enough. The problem is clear. We need to break away from this model. The challenge is now to do that in a way that is sustainable, scalable, and truly impactful. The proposed process consists of 5 major parts: the task-specific design and synthesis of green solvents, in our case this natural eutectic solvent, the valorization via green extraction method of agricultural waste, specifically olive leaves, which are rich in bioactive compounds, and the production of novel polymeric films using the value-added NADES extract, followed by the study of their properties. This zero-waste process results in biocompatible and bioactive films that are tailored to meet the needs of environmentally conscious industries and consumers. The technology readiness level of our project is 5 to 6, and the ultimate goal of our proposal is upscaling to a semi-pilot film production and obtaining a patent. Here we present the process for the biofilm production, which can be divided in 3 distinct parts. Process A includes the synthesis of the green solvent via heating and stirring method, which is a zero-waste and 100% atom economy process. Process B includes the grinding of the olive leaves, which are then subjected to ultrasound-assisted extraction with the use of NADES that offer high extraction yields in short extraction times. This downstream process follows an optimized methodology that we have already developed in our lab, and leads to an added value extract that can be used as it is in the next step without the need for solvent removal. Process C, which is another zero-waste process, includes the formation of the films by dissolution of the polymer, chitosan, in the NADES extract, and upon casting and heating of the mixture, the films, which can be seen in the photo, are ready to be used in coating applications without the need for further modification. The core of our innovation is the development of an eco-friendly and sustainable biopolymer film formation process that lies in the utilization of tailored design, biodegradable and non-toxic NADES instead of the volatile organic solvents. In our case, NADES behave as a moving functional media, since they act as green solvents for the dissolution of chitosan, plasticizers, and desirable properties enhancers, leading to a simplified process with less additives. In addition to these, NADES are utilized due to their high extraction ability, providing added value extracts that can be exploited as they are, thus eliminating the need for solvent removal and management, reducing the steps and energy demands of the process. And the incorporation of the NADES extracts in the films allows to upgrade from simple bioplastics to active packaging materials. Our approach also focuses in upcycling agricultural waste, transforming biomass residues into valuable materials, thus lowering our carbon footprint. The result is a development of biodegradable, biocompatible, and bioactive films that are with tailor-made mechanical properties.
Okay, so this approach aligns with the principles of a circular economy and offers new added value products to the packaging market. In terms of competition, our project, Green to Pack, stands apart by integrating green solvents and upcycling into its production process. Unlike traditional players who focus primarily on producing packaging materials from biomass or biopolymers, Green to Pack brings added value by incorporating green technologies to create bioactive films. This advances the sustainability agenda and positions Green to Pack as a leader in the development of eco-friendly and innovative packaging materials. Today, market research shows a clear trend that consumers are becoming more environmentally conscious. They're looking to reduce their plastic use and are more willing to pay for eco-friendly packaging alternatives. However, there are two significant barriers that actually end up deterring consumers, and that are the higher price of such products and their inferior mechanical and protective properties in comparison to plastics that are traditionally used. So this creates a market gap that our innovative solution can effectively address. And what sets our process apart is the fact that it is scalable. It doesn't require expensive or advanced equipment, and it uses inexpensive raw materials, aiming for a final product that is both low cost and bioactive. So thanks to its green practices and product differentiation, the final product will have a significant competitive advantage in the market as a high-performing and sustainable alternative to traditional packaging. Currently, biopolymer packaging films are priced up to 4 times higher than fossil-based plastics, mainly due to extremely high capital and production costs, and that makes it very difficult for them to compete in the market. So compared to conventional processes, the upscaling of our NADES-based process will result in significant cost savings, mainly due to the reduction of production cost due to eliminating the need for solvent removal and costly plasticizers and additives, and lower capital costs since our process doesn't require expensive or advanced equipment, and that reduces upfront investment significantly. So together, these two benefits address directly the economic concerns of the market and position our approach as a viable, cost-effective, and ultimately profitable alternative to traditional plastic packaging. The SWOT analysis highlights the opportunities arising from the market, specifically the need for low-cost bioplastics that have improved properties. There is a significant gap in the market, particularly regarding green technologies, which offer targeted design solutions to customers at a low cost. The fact that the competition does not utilize the technologies we propose is one of the strong points of our approach and our proposition. And it appears that the weaknesses and threats are typical for those of a new product that is attempting to enter the market. Summarizing, this is our team from Greece, and this is our idea from leaf to relief. and we invite you to join us in our attempt for a more sustainable and greener future. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Well ahead of time. You stop sharing your screen, please.
Thank you.
Many questions already. Lena, please start.
I would. I have two questions: the biodegradability, and in this question also the how compatible is it to be circular use by other types of plastic, as you are not the only one having the full market of plastic. And the other one is your chitosan. Is that coming from a chitin rich source? And have you considered the chemicals very often quite polluting chemicals from the chitin to chitosan processing?
When it comes to the biodegradability of the film, we have measured that it's biodegradable at 5 days. It lasts up to 5 days. In soil, we have done these experiments in soil. But when it used in fruits, for example, we have seen that the results are comparable to the conventional plastics. And for the other question, we have used chitosan because it's a food grade polymer. And we have designed these films in order to be edible. But these experiments are ongoing experiments.
Manfred?
Well, my question concerns the olive leaves. Are these fresh leaves? Do you harvest them from the tree or collect them from the ground? And how did you
we
calculate the cost?
We have collected those leaves in 2 periods within a year, and we have stored them, and they have to be dried and then grind in order to be used as a raw material. They are not fresh from the tree.
And how do you calculate the cost? Is it in your calculation 0 or?
We haven't calculated the cost yet. But it's a waste. I mean, in Greece, there are tons of olive leaves that we just burn them in order to.
Okay.
So we just take them from the processing, let's say, plants, and we upcycle them.
Okay. So they come with the harvest?
Yes.
Yeah.
After the harvest. Yes.
All right.
And otherwise they're burned. So we just make something out of it.
Sophia? It happens to all of us, Sophia. You're still muted.
Thank you. It happens to all of us, it seems. Thank you. It was a great presentation. I have a question that you partially answered. Why olive leaves? But could you improve, or could you do your process with other types of leaves, of other types of raw materials, nature-based raw materials?
Yes, we have already tried using coffee residues and tea also. And we have also prepared films from this waste.
And the results were similar?
Yes.
Not so good?
They were quite good. But we prefer the olive leaves because it's a waste and we have tons of it here in Greece.
And they have a high phenolic content, so it makes our extras have the value that we want them to have in order for the films to be bioactive.
And that's specific. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin?
Thanks, Keys. Yeah, very interesting talk. Yeah, there's plenty of olive waste products. And so I'm going to ask you about the purity of your chitosan when you do this extraction, and could that potentially be a problem for processing, or did you see any issues with processing and purity?
We don't extract the chitosan. We take it We buy it.
Oh, you buy it, okay. You don't
Yes.
extract that. You extract
But
from the olives, but not the.
The
You don't
chitosan
extract the
we use,
chitosan. Okay.
it's a commercial chitosan, but it's a food grade chitosan.
Okay, very good. And then on food grade, you use a deputetic solvent. Are they food grade?
Yes, and we have also tested them for the toxicity. They are not toxic.
Okay, very good, excellent. And
Thank
just
you.
one final, maybe just one. Sorry, Keith, did you want to get in?
Yeah, I'd work on the eutectic, but go ahead.
Yeah, just the other question then is the killing capability of the active packaging. Have you looked at that? I assume because you have bioactives, is it antimicrobial you're looking at in terms of the packaging for being bioactive, or what are you looking at exactly for the bioactives?
Yes, antimicrobial and antioxidant.
And how fast or how capable is it of killing bugs on the surface?
We are not sure about that because we haven't completed all the experiments, but it's a good question that we should further analyze. Yes, further analyze, yes.
Perfect, very good. No, it's very interesting. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, just working on the NADIS, which is a better word than the long abbreviation. I saw in the file like 3 blocks of processes, and it was not clear to me if you tested all of them. I know NADIS a very little bit, and the system is extremely sensitive to any other compound that comes with the thing you want to extract, basically. So leaves, I can imagine there will be a truckload of molecules in there that will actually mess up the NADIS system. Did you test anything of that, or could you comment on that?
From what we have seen, they're quite stable in the extractions, and the results are even better than the conventional extractions using ethanol or water.
Okay.
And we can design the NADIS in order to make this
The extract that we want. And extract
So
what we
you
want.
don't end up with one big pot of mayonnaise if you do it in practice.
No.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Simona?
Okay, you covered already most of my question, but I had the last one. Beyond bending the active compounds in the chitosan film, are you also planning to sell directly the active compounds, or is there any other option?
So you mean other bioactive compounds other than the extracts?
No, I mean directly sell it or directly use these compounds instead of embedding everything in the chitosan films. Because it was at the beginning you were mentioning many different processes, so it was so I wanted to know which was the first one to focus on. So I suppose that the first will be the extraction.
Yes, because we want to obtain the NADIS extract, which is then used for the film production.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? If not, maybe someone from the audience can come in again. Whoa. Sophia.
I can step in with another question. In your presentation, you referred that your green packaging would be better than the others in the market. Green package. Did you do any testing?
Yes, we have already
in
tested
terms of strength, duration, I believe.
Yes, we use a texture analyzer, and we have tested the elasticity of the films, and it's better than the conventional bioplastics.
You have no information regarding the duration.
The shelf life of the product, you mean?
Yes.
It's similar to those of the conventional plastics.
When compared
to the other alternatives, the green one.
We haven't done a comparison.
At the moment, we have compared with conventional plastics, and it's something that we want to analyze in the future.
But it's something we should do in the future. We want to do an immediate comparison.
Thank you.
So from the economics, I understand it is horribly much more expensive than oil-based plastics, which is making sense, but it's also much more expensive than other bio-based plastics. You can maybe, if it's scaled up, you can reduce the cost a bit, but there still will be a tremendous gap. So what is the selling proposition for this gap? Why should customers buy it?
We believe that in a larger scale, the cost will be reduced because we don't have the step of the solvent removal, which is a costly step. And the raw materials that we use, it's a waste, so we don't need an initial investment.
And we don't use very expensive or advanced equipment that everyone else uses. So we expect the cost to be much, much lower in comparison to other bio-based materials and comparable to plastic.
Okay, we have to stop here. Sorry, Manfred, about that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we move to the team from Spain. Rafael. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Bang.
Thanks.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Let's a minute. Just a minute.
Good morning. Okay.
Yep.
Good morning. My name is Rocío. I'm from Spain and I belong to Innovagro team. Today I'm counting on the help of my colleagues Laura and Rafael to present our project about biotransformation of agro-industrial residues for innovative biotechnological products. The index for this presentation will be a brief introduction about the great problem that agro-industrial waste represents in Europe and the solution that we propose. My colleague Rafael will explain the technical details about the process. And finally, Laura will tell you the three last points: environmental impact, justification of these projects, and conclusions. Now, I'm going to start with the first part, introduction. Agricultural industry generates a great amount of several waste. The main way to process this waste is to use it as biomass and then burn it to obtain heat and energy. However, this isn't a sustainable solution because it generates greenhouse gases. To understand this serious problem that we face up, we could talk about olive oil residues, for example. To elaborate 1 liter of olive oil, we need 4 kilograms of olives. In this process, we will generate 3 kilograms of waste. This is the 75% of raw material. So it is essential to find a sustainable solution to this problem. In our project, we propose an innovative agro-industrial byproducts, specifically olive pomace, dairy baggage, and beet pulp into valuable products, according to the principle of circular economy of the European Union and the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. For this, we use these organisms that you can see live. On the other hand, the value-added products will be food with high protein content, biofertilizers, biodegradable bioplastics, and natural beauty products.
Okay, I will continue with the technical explanation. Well, imagine transforming a stubborn agro-industrial waste into valuable products. These agro-industrial wastes are rich in lignin, hemicellulose, and other compounds. So, this is where the Pleurotus stratus comes. This organism is able to degrade this complex structure. But how? Normally, these agro-industrial wastes resist degradation due to their complex structure. However, under controlled conditions, Pleurotus ostratus thrives on it. But how? Well, the fungus secretes a potent enzymes like acids, cellulases, peroxidases, hemicellulases, and others, and break down these complex structures into simple sugars like glucose, xylose, and other. But that's not all. Additionally, Pleurotus enhance the nutritional content in funding this substrate with proteins, in specific mycoproteins, preparing it for the next stage of this innovative process. Now enter the Nebriomolitor, or mealworm, an edible insect that it will be raised in an environment enriched by these biotransformed waste from Pleurotus. These larvae convert this substrate into protein-rich biomass, and during this process produce insect excrement, or frass, that is a highly effective biofertilizer, gaining recognition for its agricultural benefits. But another important point is when the harvest larvae biomass and motion are prepared or processed to generate a high-quality ingredients for protein-fortified foods, addressing the rising demand of these sustainable protein sources. But the story doesn't end there. These biotransformed waste with Pleurotus mycelium can be directly fed to livestock, because it's not just waste anymore. Rich with bioactive compounds such as ergothioneine, ergosterol, and beta-glucans, which are a powerful antioxidant and immune system boosters. They're reducing the antibiotics need for animal farming. On the other hand, you can continue the transformation of this biotransformed waste by Pleurotus with another microorganisms, Bacillus licheniforme. Then it's able to ferment these simple sugars into another important byproducts, such as acid lactic. This is an essential precursor for the production of biodegradable plastic, in this case PLL, or polylactic acid. During this fermentation, generate another byproduct, so short chain fatty acid, enhanced with the formulation of biofertilizer. By incorporating them, biofertilizers improve the microbiological activity, fertility, and soil structure. Altogether, bioactive compounds, these fatty acids, and other beneficial enzymes are also in high demand for the pharmaceutical and cosmetics industry for the formulation of medications and aging creams. Now let's continue with the environmental impact with my partner.
Thank you, Rafael. Firstly, waste reduction and climate change mitigation, because biotransformation reduces landfill waste and greenhouse gas emission. It converts waste into high-value products like bioplastic and biofertilizers. For example, Pleurotus ostratus sequesters carbon, improving soil and mitigating climate change. Secondly, conservation of natural resources, substitution of chemical fertilizers, because biofertilizers improve soil health without negative effects like eutrophication and plastic reduction. Biodegradable bioplastic decrease plastic pollution. In third and last place, soil improved and promotion of our economy, because soil enrichment adds nutrient and beneficial microorganisms, enhancing soil fertility and resource reuse. Waste is recycled to new products, reducing. The justification is that the biotransformation of agroindustrial residues using organisms not only provides significant environmental benefits, but also offers economic advantages that make it a viable and attractive option for agroindustrial companies. For example, the cost reduction and the revenue generation. In this case, biotransformation facilitates the production of functional foods and natural cosmetics, sectors that are rapidly growing and have high demand for sustainable products. Market potential, growing environment awareness, government policies favoring sustainable drive the demand for waste-derived products, creating new market. And finally, cost-benefit analysis, although initial implementation require investing, this cost are quickly offset by the reduction in waste disposal, saving on inputs, and the generation of new revenue. In conclusion, implementing and optimizing this process through the biotransformation of agroindustrial residues using organisms with Pleurosus striatus, Tenebrio molliformis, can lead to current environment challenges, foresting more sustainable development in line with the principles of the circular economy, will also be economically viable. Thanks for your attention.
Spot on time. Thank you very much. Very sympathetic idea. Now let me reset the thing. Okay. Open for questions. Not all of you at the same time, please. Simona, yeah.
Thanks for the presentation. You are mentioning different waste streams. Have you already studied which is the most promising one for your process?
Yes, we do, but not exactly the most promised, but the most abundant and most problematic, if I can say it. The most problematic is the olive oil residues called alperujo, because it's produced in a short time and an abundant quantity. So we focus more in this substrate because it could be easier to the others ones. So I think I know if I answered your question, but the easier ones could be others that are not alperujo.
Okay, Manfred.
Well, thank you very much for this well-organized presentation. I'm also asking for the raw materials for your agro residues. As I learned from the last answer, you tested it not in detail so far, but you might have an idea about some specification, might be water content. Are there specific materials or ingredients necessary for your processes you need in the raw materials? In such questions, could you speak about the specification in the end of your raw materials?
Sorry, I didn't hear you clear. Can you repeat it, please?
The question.
I have internet issues.
Okay. The question was about the specification of the raw materials, the residues you are using. Yeah. I learned that you didn't test in detail so far, but can you give us some idea about the water content? Are there specific ingredients necessary to run the process in the materials, fats, oils, specific amino acids, or something like that?
Well, we characterize it, but not in that way. In macro components, such for example, the major component is our lignocellulosic component. So they are poor in other ones, such as proteins or maybe vitamins, but that's the characterization we are ready made. Because the nutrient we are going to obtain with the first stage of this process, that is the degradation the lignocellulosic materials with the Pleurotus substratus, and then utilize this biotransform waste to supply the nutritional requirement of the other organisms, such as Tenebria mollitor, for example, that it have protein required, and the sugar for the Bacillus licheniforme.
Okay.
So,
Thanks. Just, as a chairman, I can ask questions too, I suppose. First of all, an observation: you're not growing anything on waste. You're having residues, side streams, whatever, but never call it waste, because then you're in deep shit. Because there are other laws that tell you how to treat waste, so you don't have waste. Period. Second, if you can grow Pleurotus in a hygienic, efficient way, stop there, then you're in business. I don't know the mushroom market in Spain. I'm certainly not an expert on that area, but the Pleurotics, if you process that to mimic pulled beef or pulled pork or even pulled chicken, the Pleurotus actually is better than pulled pork. Mouthfeel, health, and everything. And then you have a processed product that you can ship anywhere, that is fresh. Otherwise, then you have to be on a local market, I presume. So that would be my warm advice. Lene.
I'm very much aligned with your case, but let me start from afresh. I like that you are selecting this beautiful leftover from the olive oil production. It's so valuable, and it should be done. It's a long time overdue. The other part is that when you are growing the Pleurotus, you have, as Case is saying, fantastic. Sorry? Okay. You have a fantastic. Sorry?
I think there's a time delay, Lena, because the internet connection is not so good. So then
slow down a bit, Lena, please.
Okay, I will slow down. When you are growing the Pleurotus, you have a good product, but you are right in trying to do more, because Pleurotus does not extract all the potential of the biomass. Okay. The next part is that when you are talking about how to valorize it and also the Pleurotus, remember, don't start animal feed, because you have much higher value from a fungus. So use the fruiting bodies right away, as Kay say. When you are doing the insect, you can make more protein. That's correct. But that is more difficult to actually get a high value, because many people are not selecting it for human food. So there, I think you rather go for the animal feed there. For Bacillus licheniformis, I would like to attract your attention to that there might be a risk of antimicrobial resistance. There are, if you can try to look up, but there are some worries that not for the GMO as a production host. Licheniformis is fantastic, but when you are using it for food production or feed production, there is a risk that you're also spreading antimicrobial resistance. So please take that warning and make sure still you have safety all right. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your advice.
Kevin.
Thanks, Keys. I just wanted to, maybe I asked other teams about this as well. So first of all, really nice. I love the idea. You're really trying to integrate many different processes. There are challenges around that in terms of scaling. But what I want to ask you, I suppose, is time frame. How long does it take Pleurotus to grow firstly on your first substrate, and then for you to use that for insects? And do you have bottlenecks in your process? Is one going to be very fast, one going to be slow? Have you thought about that, how this operates?
Yes, there is an important thing. Well, the first stage with the biotransformation with Pleurotus will depend integrally the combination or the agroindustrial waste, because it don't grow at the same time depending of the growth. It's between 40 weeks to 6 weeks, the first stage. Then another stage will be depending with the stage of the larvae we are using. So if the larvae have in the I don't know, the 7th stage will be in 30 days the final products. And the licheniformis is the short time we are implementing that. It's between 48 hours to 72 hours. It depends the conditions, of course, and the agro-industrial waste we are using or implementing.
Okay, thanks very much. But do you see a clear process flow? If it takes 4 to 5 days, if it takes 4 to 5 days for your fungus to grow, but it takes 30 days for your insect to grow, how do you get the next batch of fungal waste through your system? There's a bottleneck there, yeah? You see the bottleneck?
Yeah, we have to keep in mind that to maintain the sequence, no? But I think it's easier because we have the bacteria. I don't know how to say it. We have to maintain this strain of the mushroom during the time. I think it's very easy to do it. So I don't know. Sorry for my English, but I think it's easier this part to maintain the stage.
Great. Thanks very much. Yeah, very interesting project. Thank you.
Okay, and that concludes the questioning. We have passed the time. Thanks. We move to my main country, which is the Netherlands. Teun, are you there?
Yes, I'm
so.
here. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi, straight ahead. Go ahead.
I think it works like this. Everyone can see it. Everyone can hear us.
Yep, you're good. Start, please.
Well, dear experts in the bio-based economy, you are probably all concerned about the societal challenges revolving around agriculture, right? I would like to highlight 3 quickly. Firstly, there are the ecological issues. The overuse of artificial fertilizer, the gas consumption in the greenhouse horticulture sector. Secondly, we have the waste streams that demand alternative ways to create new value. Crop residues, waste, manure, and woody residues. Thirdly, many farmers are angry, especially in the Netherlands. We have this. They're under great pressure due to changing legislation, rising gas prices, and the push for sustainability and change. So there is a great need for innovative solutions that benefit both society and agriculture. Well, our Biomiler 2.0 is exactly this. It can make our European horticulture sector both more sustainable and more competitive. A few months ago, we started building our first pilot project here on our university farm, Utrecht University. We raised 20,000 euros and now it's about halfway finished. Our innovations change a basic and little known system into something innovative and financially viable. A local solution, we believe it can help many individual farmers. Teun, it's on you.
Yeah, okay. So first things first, what is the Biominer? The Biominer is an eco-energetic composting system that transforms organic material, such as plants or crop residue, into high-quality compost through microbial activity. Besides producing high-quality compost, this microbial activity also generates heat. And the trick of the Biominer is that it captures this heat and uses it for heating appliances. For example, the first biominer we saw was built by a German farmer, and he used the heat from the biominer to heat his greenhouses. So a biominer is a cylindrical shaped compost reactor, which is usually 6 meters in diameter and 2 meters high, where all sorts of organic material, so crop residue, plant residue, manure, are composted, accompanied with wood chips and water. After 1 week, the biominer reaches its peak temperature of around 60 degrees, and from then on, heat can be extracted over a 2-year period, as this is the composting time in the biominer. After these 2 years, when the composting process is done, so to say, the remaining compost is of very high quality, which can be used by farmers. And then the biominer can be refilled again with organic material. As we thought this system is very innovative, we were wondering why is it still such a small practice? Well, after an extensive literature review and several expert interviews, we came to the conclusion that the biominer has to be upgraded with major innovations. And these are incorporated in our biominer 2.0. The biominer 2.0 consists of an active aeration system and a heat condensing exchanger. And I'll now briefly explain both the technical aspects of both innovations to you. Oh, Lasse.
We are seeing most interesting communications, but not the PowerPoint anymore.
I'm trying to fix this. I see the problem.
What happened?
Yeah, just stop sharing.
Yep.
This is an older version.
Well, never mind. You can go continue.
Okay, thank you. Well.
Okay. So first of all, we have the condensing heat exchanger. Sorry, Lasse, can you go one further?
Yes.
One further? Yeah. So first, no, one back. We have our active aeration system. Usually biominers are aerated passively with the use of a chimney, but there are several problems with this. With this aeration system with the chimney, you can't really keep track of the aeration rates across the entire biominer. And therefore, you have the risk that some places in the biominer get under or over aerated, which leads to the system dying or drying out. So therefore, you want to really keep track of your aeration rates across the entire biominer. And with our innovative active aeration system, we can do this. So to the next slide. As you can see here, our active aeration system consists of 5 perforated tubes that are laying underneath the biomass, and they are connected with an air blower. And this air blower blows air in and sucks air out of the biominer system. Also, this air blower is connected with sensors across the entire biominer, in which that they really allow us to keep track of the aeration rates across the system. So yeah, with this system, we can really secure optimal aeration rates across the entire biominer. I see that the presentation is gone again, but I'll just continue. This has this has 3 major advantages, this system. You can go to the advantages slide, yeah, Lasse.
Right. This one?
No, yeah, that one. Yeah. Okay, this has 3 major advantages. As we secure optimal aeration conditions for our biomass, we can secure more heat extraction, and our compost, the end product, becomes of way higher quality. Secondly, as we now reduce the risk of the system being under or over aerated, the entire system becomes way more reliable. So then over to our second innovation, which is the heat condensing exchanger. Usually heat is extracted from the biominer system with the within-pile heat extraction method. And in this system, tubes are laid across the entire biominer, and they extract heat through conduction. However, as you can see on the picture on the right, there is also a lot of heat available in the biominer that escapes in the form of water vapor. So this contains latent heat. And with the current system, you don't capture that. So with our heat condensing exchanger, which can be placed on top of your biominer, next slide, you can also capture the latent heat available in your biominer system. So the condensing heat exchanger consists of a wooden framework with pipes circulated around it, and it's placed on top of your biominer system. So yeah, this again has 2 major advantages. The first one is that with this system, you are able to capture 2 heat streams instead of just 1. So yeah, you're able to extract more heat than you would do with the normal system. Second of all, as I told in the beginning, every 2 years you have to refill your biominer. So you empty it and refill it with your organic waste. We experience from farmers that it's very hard to do this with the current system. And with this simplified construction, you can just put off your condensing heat exchanger, refill your biominer, and then put it on back again. So the entire system becomes easier to maintain and more accessible for farmers.
Okay, on to the environmental benefits. And they are all about our feedstock. For this, we use together not only with farmers, but also municipalities, because 70% of our feedstock is woody biomass. Every municipality has logging and pruning operations. This generates a woody waste stream. And currently, this is all being incinerated. Well, the biomiler can get closer to a circular economy because it's our vision to use this waste stream, convert it all into biomiler compost. Now, what makes this compost such a valuable product? Well, what happens in the biomiler, the process is something special because of the woody input and the long process. This gives a very high organic matter content, or at least twice high compared to conventional industrially produced compost. This feeds the soil. It improves quality of the soil, structure, and it also increases the capacity of the soil to retain water. Also, the compost is very high, rich in microorganisms and fungi. This gives life back into the soil and improves the health of the plant. Well, these aspects make this such a strong product, I think, in the fight against soil degradation and biodiversity loss. Another factor I would like to highlight is about carbon storage potential, because after the composting process, 70% of the carbon remains in the compost, so we can store it in the soil for a much longer period of time. Now, so far about our compost quality. What scale can we reach? With this number from Stichting Probos, they calculated the size of this municipal woody waste stream. We could build over 60,000 medium-sized biomilers. This would purely and based on the technical potential then, that would give us enough compost for 225,000 hectares of healthy soil. It's 35% of the area used for horticulture and arable farming in the Netherlands. It would also give us 180 million cubic meters of natural gas, we could say, 900,000 tons of CO2 stored in the soil. Sorry? Okay.
You have been talking for 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. That is good to know. Then I wrap it up quickly. We compared the payback rates between the traditional and our innovative system. We see that this improves from 22 and 10 years to 4, 8, and 4 years. And now as final thing, I would like to highlight that we have quite some uncertainty feel in this calculation because of the limits in the literature. That's why we need our pilot project to really show how big are these value streams. And we need some new projects. With 4 greenhouse gardeners, we just in the process of writing a new EU funding request, hope to further develop our condensed heat exchanger and active aeration system. So let's use our Biomiler 2.0 to counter soil degradation and climate change, give new value to our waste, make our European horticulture farmers more competitive. Thank you for listening. And I'm looking forward to it as well. Yeah.
Okay, stop sharing, please.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, and we're back. Kevin.
Yeah, thanks very much. Really interesting presentation. Really interesting idea. Can I ask you 2 questions? One is on the active aeration. Do you know? Okay, so what level of active aeration are you putting in, and what's the carbon and economic cost to that?
Yeah, we know these. The air blower that we're going to use blows air in and sucks it out with a rate of 512 cubic meters per hour. So this, and we calculated just technical still now, but we calculated the potential revenue of doing this. With this blower will use approximately 0.5 kilowatts. And we expect our yield to increase with 1.5 to 2 kilowatts. So therefore, in terms of economic viability, we expect it to be very, good.
That's good. And what about the carbon cost? Like you're obviously going to be generating. You're going to have to use energy to do that. You said 0.5 kilowatts, but how much carbon is that? What's the carbon footprint, the increased carbon footprint as a result of the additional energy going in? Yeah.
But do you mean then the carbon footprint of producing the entire air blower, or?
Of this system. So you're saying that you're going to gain
Yeah.
energy overall. You're going to gain energy, but you have parasitic energy at the start to put into your process.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, well, at the site that we're doing it now at the Utrecht University, we secured that our air blower we use electricity from solar panels, so that makes it already net zero sort of. So if that answers your question, but yeah, for future projects, of course, yeah, we want the air blower to run on sustainable electricity. Yeah.
Very good. That's what I was getting at. So it's good that you thought about solar and other things,
of course,
that you can basically, your parasitic energy goes to zero if it's coming from solar, for example. So yeah, that's very good. Thanks very much.
Okay, Lena.
I'm impressed with what you're doing, and I think it is. I fully trust that you have made a very efficient and high quality, efficient process and high quality compost. Except that I think there's one part where I would advise you to get a little bit more information so people can interpret more clearly what type of high quality it is. And my direct suggestion is try to make a microbiome analysis, because you need also not only to say that there are many organisms, but also the type of organism needed. Which is different from the kind of in your composting. There's totally different condition than there is in a cultivation soil, because of temperature and many other things. So in order, I believe you are right that it's high quality also seen from microbiome and microorganism, but I think you should try to look at it and elucidate the microbiome composition.
I agree. That's a very important point. We heard it from farmers a few times. They said, "Hey, what is exactly the composition of these microbes?" Yeah, after the pilot project at the university, we are having two master students from biology department who are going to analyze our compost. Hopefully, then we will see it exactly. Yeah, what is the type of microorganism?
And also what they are doing, the microbes, not just that they are there, but they need to show what they are doing. But that's another story and a bit more advanced.
Okay. Well, very interesting. Thank you.
Manfred.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. I have two questions concerning the heat. The first one is about the heat loss. What is the share of heat loss to the environment through the wall of the miler or the aeration system? And the second is, your system is running 2 years, so through summer and winter. Your customer will need less heat in summer, more heat in winter. Are you able to regulate the heat production?
Yeah, so to your second question, indeed, we also came across this problem that, of course, there's more heat demand in winter than there is in summer. We're also trying to do some investigation on whether it's possible to couple this to a heat pump, for example, so we can also use it in summer. But besides that, our most important, I think, solution to this problem is to use the hot water that we get in summer times just as sanitary water, because there's always a need for that also in summer. So that's up until now what we think is the best solution to that problem. And sorry, what was your first question?
The heat loss, the share of heat loss.
Yeah.
The aeration and the
heat loss. The heat loss through the walls is very limited. In the composting reactor, you have already the outer 50 to 70 centimeters already acts as some sort of insulating layer. So there's very limited heat loss to the outer space. Only up in the air and above in the biomiler. But with our condensing heat exchanger, we're trying to capture that. So therefore, we have less heat loss there. And what exactly do you mean with heat loss through the aeration system?
Yeah, there's some air going through the whole system. and will transport heat.
Yeah, but that goes up in principle, and then we capture it again with our condensing heat exchanger that lays on top of our biominer system. So the air flows up because it's pushed upwards, but then we capture it there, and so there we don't really have heat loss from that. At least we don't expect to have that. If I understand
Sophia?
correctly.
Thank you. I really enjoy your work and your presentation. I believe it has a lot of potential. I have two, I'm not sure if our questions or comments. The first one, if you think about upscaling, maybe it would be nice if you could think of a more environmental friendly materials to use in the procedure. I'm not sure if that's possible if you try, because I saw from the image, I'm not sure what the materials are, but from the image it seems that we're not so eco-friendly materials. Another comment, it would be that the best way to solve the questions related to the type of microbiome that you have, the analysis, it would be to do a collaboration with those colleagues in biology, for example, and tested those materials in the field, in soil amendment itself, with crops, with the small crops. It doesn't need to be a huge experiment, but it would be the best way to have accurate data related to the quality of your microbiome.
Yeah, thank you, especially for the second comment. I hope, yeah, we need to reach this direct customer feedback. That's why we started this collaboration with these 4 greenhouse gardeners in the Netherlands, and we're building. Yeah, the plan is to build 4 more and really test it in the field. But then we need to get the subsidy, which is, yeah, we have to wait still for that.
Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the presentation. We're
Thank
through
you
the
all.
time.
Yeah.
So that's it. We have a short break now until 2:10 sharp.
Okay, thank you very much
See
for
you.
listening to us, and enjoy your break.
Please, can you? No, he's gone.
No, he's not.
Okay, that's good. I would like to know the overall timing. I'm a little pressed for time, but how are we doing? And
We are on schedule.
yeah, but where is? Maybe I have missed it, but I don't know where the breaks are.
The breaks are now until 10 past. Another break at 3:10.
3:10.
Yeah,
And
then
just 10 minutes.
yeah, each is 10 minutes, and then we have our deliberation at 4.
We have what at 4?
Our jury deliberation. I sent you a separate mail for that.
Yeah, that's the new meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from 3:20 to 4 there was a break, correct?
No, there is
No,
another
that
one.
was a break.
Yeah,
So there's no longer
No.
than 10 minutes breaks all day.
Exactly. Yeah, that's Nello. We have to beat him up for that.
I mean, that's not good for lunch. It's not good for anything. It's not good for a business.
No, but it's too late to intervene here now.
Yeah,
so.
but I haven't looked at it before. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. But you are sure that we are finishing at 5?
Yeah. I hope so.
Overall?
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Thank you, and you do fantastic. Thank you.
Actually, Lene, this is Nello. Do you hear me? Do you hear me, Lene?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay, now you're in there. Yeah. So the schedule is the same as last year. Last year, remember, we had a discussion. Are we going to have a break and continue the next day? Are we going to have a break for lunch or whatever? And then you all decided, no, let's go in one shot. So today, indeed, the jury deliberation finishes at 16:35. If you want to and need to leave, you can leave at that moment. Because
okay,
after that,
16:35.
That's when the jury deliberation is done. So the results are then case, and all jury members are invited to come back into the Teams meeting, and case will then announce with a comment for every team. He would announce who are the top 5. But you don't
of course, I
necessarily.
want to hear that also. But
Okay,
so
well then,
it all
well then you're
finishes
in.
at 5.
Yes, exactly 5, even 5 minutes to 5.
And when is there any opening where you can fill in? We can fill in the scoring.
Oh yeah, that is what you have discussed with Case, and this will happen during the. Well, you should have your scores as the process goes on, and when jury deliberation starts, you are invited by Case to upload your results.
But I
anyway,
have not done that.
Okay, well
and
then
that
you
was
should.
the same as last time, because I think it takes I'd rather be putting 100% be present instead of do my paperwork while we have the interviews. But that's for me to solve. So I will do that.
Excellent.
But
Okay.
otherwise, it's fantastic, Nilu. It's really
Yes.
great.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All righty.
Okay. Italy. Ginevra, are you there?
Yes. I'm going to speak on behalf of the team. I'm Alessandro. Nice to meet you, everybody.
Hi.
Okay, so let me share the screen.
Yep, please go ahead.
Okay, can you see it?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, so let me begin. Good afternoon, everyone. And today I'm going to introduce you to Sensifork, a sensor-equipped tool for the detection of allergens in food. Like many of you, maybe, or your friends or family, I have a few food intolerances. And let me tell you, it can be stressful, it can be scary eating out without knowing if you will end up feeling sick, or worse, because of gluten or lactose. Food allergies and intolerances, particularly those related to gluten, are on the rise. And as you can see, the Italian Institute of Superior Health reports approximately 250,000 diagnosed cases of celiac disease without counting the gluten sensitivity cases. These numbers can go up to 1% of the world population. And even higher rates are for lactose intolerances, and at a staggering 50%. It is totally possible to lead a healthy life, even with these intolerances, if you know what and where to eat. But how can I be sure that I will not find contaminations in my food? State of the art presents two different systems. The AgraQuant gluten, which is a laboratory kit and as such is able to detect gluten in the range of 4 parts per million to 200 parts per million. And the linear detector, which is one of the first at-home kits reaching the 20 parts per million. It is intended as a portable device. It's quite bulky, but also requires a kit comprising of single-use capsules that cannot be recycled. Not sure if they look like something that I want to put on the table while out for dinner. I would instead use a fork. Sensifork is designed to be portable, user and environmentally friendly, recyclable, reusable, and with a competing range of detection where we aim our goal is 20 parts per million. Sensifork, this portable device, is crafted from recycled materials. It features state-of-the-art biosensors capable of detecting various allergens and contaminants in real time. Moreover, Sensifork provides users with immediate feedback, empowering them to make informed dietary decisions on the go. Sensifork also prioritizes environmental sustainability by minimizing waste and reducing reliance on fossil-based resources, exemplified by its use of biocompatible conductive polymers for communications between the biosensors and the controllers. And from a technical point of view, this device is composed of three main parts. We have a sensorized tip, an electronic bag, housing a reader module that reads the sensor's outcome and gives feedback to the user, and the sensor part. In other words, we basically have a handle that connects mechanically to the sensorized tip and the electronic bag. We make Sensifork using two main technologies, molecular imprinting and screen printing. Let's go into details. So the molecular imprinting process involves the creation of specific binding sites to detect target molecules. We're talking like something like the natural biological recognition processes like antigen-antibody reaction. And the target molecule reacts with a particular monomer to form the template monomer complex, and then it binds with the bulk material through a polymerization process. The target molecule is then removed with specific solvents, leaving a cavity into the matrix corresponding with the target molecule, basically the keyhole to our contaminants. For Sensifork specifically, we use functional monomers such as metacrylic acid derivatives to form complexes with allergen molecules, thus creating the molecular imprinted cavities. To make it, we first dissolve a conductive PLA substrate in ethyl acetate and mix it with the functional complexes, forming a functionalized conductive PLA batch. We then take a PLA substrate and deep coat it into the solution, and after bulk polymerization through solvent evaporation and removal of the template molecules by acetic acid, we obtain the high sensitivity sensorized tip. For the prototyping of the sensorized tip, we can use fused deposition modeling technologies. But of course, for large-scale production, we will predict to use injection molding. The screen-printed electrodes and antenna are fabricated directly onto the PLA substrate using precision printing machines. And when you're actually using Sensifork, the electrical circuit on the back sends a signal to the tip's antenna, and then the electrical properties of the tip change depending on the presence or absence of the target molecule. And in consequence, the feedback of the antenna can be positive or negative, turning on or off the LED. Also, a food-grade silicone coating covers the tip, protecting it from mechanical damage and food contaminants, excluding the electrodes patterned onto the Sensifork tines, enhancing the durability. But our planet health is as much important as ours. Therefore, we address environmental concerns associated with traditional plastic-based devices by utilizing recycled and biodegradable materials in our device construction. Unlike oil-based polymers, which pose significant environmental challenge due to their non-biodegradable nature, Sensifork is primarily composed of polylactic acid, PLA, a biodegradable polymer derived from renewable plant sources like maize, sugarcane, or potatoes. Moreover, PLA offers versatility. It's non-toxic, it's biocompatible, and its mechanical properties are comparable to those of traditional oil-derived polymers. And by eliminating dependence on non-renewable fossil sources, Sensifork contributes to waste reduction and minimize environmental pollution. The electrical components are also minimized and designed to be reused because they are at the back, and the circuit is manufactured using screen-printed electrodes technology, depositing PLA containing carbon nanoparticles directly on the PLA structure. And this approach reduces the reliance on unsustainable materials and minimizes the energy resources required for production, thereby lowering greenhouse gas emissions. The reusable electronic back is designed for repeated use and can be easily disconnected. It's a snap fit, you disconnect it, and then you can use it again. Summarizing, the back can be reused and the other parts recycled. So Sensifork enters a growing market with increasing global awareness of food allergies and tolerances. The global market for food tolerance, for food allergen testing is estimated at 700 million in 2022 and is projected to reach 1,400 million by 2030, reflecting a compound annual growth rate of 8.4%. Despite competition from established brands like Nema, Allergy Amulet, Sensifork offers unique features: the portability, the rapid detection, user-friendliness, and environmental sustainability, aiming for the gold standard. Initial costs are balanced out by the effective cost and healthcare impact. Healthcare savings from allergy detection, an estimated raw material cost for one device less than $1, and a strong brand reputation could lead to a return on investment. Sensifork business model focuses on meeting the diverse customers, so from single customer to health institutions and food service providers. We prioritize food allergy education, customer support, and we aim to reach our target market through restaurants and allergy awareness events. Also, partnership with manufacturers, distributors, and allergy advocacy groups enhances our ability to address the challenges and improve the device to overcome critical requirements like the need for skilled personnel, manufacturing facilities, and financial capital. In conclusion, Sensifork represents a compact, portable, and user-friendly solution designed to be able to enable individuals with food allergies to promptly detect allergens, thereby mitigating the risk of severe or potentially life-threatening allergic reactions. It's made with biodegradable and recyclable polymers derived from natural resources, along with reusable electronic components, and Sensifork environmental impact is greatly reduced compared to the competitors. Furthermore, Sensifork will ensure accessibility to a professional-grade sensor for everyone and everywhere, reducing emergencies and boosting the patient's quality of life. This is the dream team and our intolerances. We're all PhD students from the University of Pisa with a background as biomedical engineers, and we are currently looking for support to create the first prototype. Are you going to join us in this voyage? Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you. Well within time. Please stop sharing, and then
yes,
we start with the questions. There are already 3. Kevin, please.
Thanks, Kees, and thanks for a very interesting talk. Really amazing, innovative product. And can I maybe try to pick holes in your innovative product, in your great product?
Okay.
So what about false positives, about interference by other things in the food? Have you looked at that?
Yes, we are looking at the literature. Alessio, do you want to?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
It's an
I can
echo.
hear you.
And
Yes, an
see
echo.
me? Okay. Yeah, the false positive is a real problem. But from the literature, we see that the molecular imprinting process and it's.
We can hear you. It's okay. We can
Yeah,
hear
sorry,
you.
we're all close together.
Sorry, but because my computer was shut down, I don't know why.
No
I
problem.
was saying that the molecular imprinting process is a really specific sensor type generator, because the cavity on the polymeric matrix is specific for that molecule. It there can be a false positive in case the molecule you want to see is really similar to the molecule you are searching.
So of course we also want to approach it
guys, sorry
statistically.
about it. I'm not worried about a false positive at all. If the LED is illuminating, don't eat it, no problem. I'm worried about a false negative actually.
Yeah.
It's the same for the false negative, because of course we need a statistical analysis on how much is the sensitivity of the device, but we don't have a prototype, and so we didn't does this research.
Yes, we need to acquire the statistical numbers, and that's why I said that we are aiming for the goal of 20 parts per million, because that will reduce the false negatives. And also it needs to be a statistical approach to it. I also want to point out that this will not be a medical device, and will be as a suggestion to support in decision making.
Moreover,
And then if you have one lethal casualty with a true allergenic, you'll be sued and bankrupt.
Yes, that's
right.
definitely the risk with all allergy testing kit.
Okay.
Therefore, that's why there's a range of errors and statistical analysis, and the work behind needs to be much more than what we acquired till now. And we need to acquire enough data and improve the design to reach that safety before going to market, because
Okay.
Let alone being sued, it's having people's life on our conscience. So definitely not the risk.
And can I just
Kevin,
give
go
that
ahead. Yeah.
a follow-on question then? What is the time frame for the electronic change to happen in the fork? So when someone takes the fork and puts it into the food, is it nanoseconds, milliseconds, seconds?
It's
Minutes.
It's minutes at the moment.
1-2 minutes.
Yeah, and also it needs to be specified that even the current testing the current kits available on market are not designed for dry food. Neither will be SensiFork, because it's for creamy food. It's if you take bread, you need to dissolve a little bit in water to have the molecules spread around. You know, stir it around a little bit and see what happens.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. Thank you.
Sophia.
Thank you. I really like the presentation, but that was one of my questions. If we can just touch in the food, I know I understand that we cannot. How many times can this device be reused by the consumer?
The tines are so basically the tines of the fork, just one use, because once the site has been compromised, we cannot give an estimate. While the electronic back can be reused for, we need to establish the kind of device battery on it, but it's basically just an LED and an antenna. So the back can be reused quite often.
Yes, but for example, I was asking if I buy one, I go to a restaurant, I try the first thing, I cannot try again, right?
No, we are actually imagining to have a kit, like you have the back and then you have different tines. You take your tine and then you snap fit on it and then you can test it and then take that away and try again with a reset
There's
button.
There's no way to clean it in a secure way to be reused, right?
Maybe
Well,
you
potentially,
need,
yes.
yeah, but you need a specific solvent
It's
like
n-
acetic acid that
It's
we
not
use in the
something that may
production.
be user friendly. The idea to clean it because it will involve, acetic acid to remove the gluten molecule from the imprinted molecular imprint.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Simona, please.
I also appreciated a lot the creativity of the proposal. I was wondering, you mentioned the gluten, but you also mentioned other allergens, the lactose and so on. Are you getting the same signal output for all the different allergens you are planning to test?
The device is thought to be used with one allergen per time. So depending on the molecular target, we need to change the solvent for the fabrication. And for example, for gluten, we have a process, for lactose, another process, and each tip is for one molecule at a time. So the single tip can detect multiple molecules.
Yeah, I understand. The part of the tips will be different, but the output in terms
Yes,
of
the same.
Like
the same.
we will need to calibrate for the kind of allergen. So, but then since every customer has those specific allergies, we will customize it for sale with.
But yes, the detection detector back is the same for all allergen. Just change the tip.
Okay. And the sensitivity for example, the two allergens that you are mentioning, it is comparable with the commercial current
We are still
systems?
in acquiring materials and defining the design and idea. We need to test it out before having an estimate of the number of the sensitivity. But we are aiming to use the molecular imprinting approach because it has shown in literature promise of high sensitivity.
Okay, and I have a last question. You mentioned that the environmental impact, you are taking into account the environmental impact of your product, but why you are mentioning that is better compared to the commercial one, which, you are not solving, directly a problem related to circular economy. You are solving another kind of problem, take into account this part.
Yeah, so basically from the design, we are taking into consideration patient health and world health. So when choosing the materials, against what our competitors might have done, we want to choose materials that are environmentally friendly, recyclable, and can be acquired through producers that are mindful of their emissions. Also, the cost of the products currently on the market is quite high, and we want to keep the price low to have people use it more often. Since you're keeping the electrical part, you can just keep changing the times. And we want to, if you want to invest in what we're selling, is the changeable part, the non-reusable part.
All right, there are two more questions. Lena, please.
But isn't time up?
Not yet. It hasn't
Okay. So many good questions have already, and many questions from each person. So now almost everything is empty. But still, I would like to ask, how many types of allergens have you tested it for? And is the sensitivity about the same? I would be surprised. Have you calibrated according to that?
So we have currently designed the idea for gluten, but we are considering that since it's a molecular imprinting approach, we can translate to different allergies or intolerances. So we're talking lactose or peanuts, but we are currently in the designing idea part. So where we're setting up our stations to actually get these numbers. We do expect sensitivity to be different because there are different molecular approaches. Also in gluten, you have molecules that are quite similar to the others, and we need to be sure that the dangerous molecule is detected.
Thank you.
Now it's beeping, so now we stop. Manfred, was it very urgent and very short? You're
I
muted.
cannot hear you.
What will be the cost per test?
Like,
Sorry?
What is the cost per test?
The cost per test, so we're talking customer cost.
Yes.
We're considering to keep it raw material under $1, we were saying, raw material, but we need to take into considerations.
No. Manfred is a very sensitive person. So he wants to have a fork to dig in his food when he goes out. What does he have to pay?
Less than the competitive one, because the other the competitors' price are higher than $20
That
per
was not the
test.
question. What are you going to
Less
offer to
than-
Manfred? What does he have to pay?
We haven't settled on a price, but we are aiming to keep under the $20 that we have for the other competitors for the recharges.
Okay,
But that's
thank
where
you.
we want to aim.
Now we stop just to be fair to the other teams. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We move ahead.
you.
Let me see to the Czech Republic. Antonin, are you there?
Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Great.
Please share your screen and go ahead.
Mhm.
Yes, it's coming.
It's working.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We are Marketa and Antonin, and we represent Czechia in this contest. And we would like you to present an innovative approach to reuse spent coffee grounds. And at the beginning, I would like you to take a 1 second and just to concentrate and imagine another morning you didn't slept really well. You have a long day ahead of you. You maybe have to listen to 17 presentations and decide which one is the best one. So you make the coffee and you drink the delicious, delicious liquid. But what about the rest? The thing is, like, you didn't consume the whole coffee beans. You just used the liquid and you have the mass, which I suppose you throw it away in the bin, maybe you compost it, but there is a much more you can do with the coffee beans. And if you drink the coffee daily, I think you have a great amount of material which can be reused in your bin.
So how did this idea start? I was working as a barista as a student job, and every day I used to throw away a lot of spent coffee grounds. And according to my colleagues and other coffee shops, there was a frustration about it because everyone knows there is something better to do with it. And we were like, we would love to have someone helping us to reuse our spent coffee grounds. And so that's why with Marketa, we started to work on a solution to do something with it. Because they are too small, the coffee shops are too small to suggest interest for this. And on this specific market segment, there is no answer yet, and they are waiting for a solution, and they are motivated, and they are ready to invest time and money in it. So after 1 year of work, we explored a few ways to create value on spent coffee grounds, and now we select the one we think is the best to try, which would be to transform their spent coffee grounds into bio-based and home compostable plastic, which is called polyhydroxyalkanoates, and you may know about PHAs. And through this, we have an impact on coffee, but also on coffee in plastic in nature. Sorry. So we are going to present you our technology because it's the aim of this contest. And because we suppose you saw the report, we will not be very precise in yields and number to not overload you with information, but we can answer everything during the Q&A. So our technology is based on microbiological transformation using bioreactors, as you can see on the picture, to create PHB. We are not using autoclaving, and we would like to do it with fed-back fermentation using the genetically modified Cupriavidus necator as a bacteria for our process. Well, as discussed with Stanislas Obruka, we have this idea of installation, which summarize our process, I would say. And so from the spent coffee grounds, I don't know if you can see it from here, we firstly extract coffee oil as a substrate for PHA production by fermentation. So firstly, we output PHA, which is a yield of 10 to 15% weight percent. And so we have another big part of solid residues. So we output coffee polyphenols as a valuable side product, and also carotenoids. And there is still a solid residue. And to close the loop, we use it in an industrial boiler because of its high calorific value to close the loop. So we are not the first one willing to create PHA, but there is also, for example, this company in the US market. You may already know them because they were the first ones to develop straws, biodegradable in the oceans. Now they are focusing on other packaging industry, as we would like to do, to create daily products as an alternative to PE and PLA coating products. But they are not using spent coffee grounds from a raw material for that. So here is our SWOT analysis now. So our strengths are that our product would be green by itself if it's composed with PHA, and it's an answer to our client's problem, which would be coffee shops and restaurants. And using an integrated process, we would have side products and valuable side products. We are working on a fast-growing market, which is PHA market, which is very growing now. And on this specific segment, we reduce a lot of number of competitors. And in a more longer time, it would be an opportunity for us to reach other industries, such as medical industry. Our weaknesses now are that we are working on a complex process and techniques, and we need to optimize it because our yields are still low, and we have a lot of parameters to improve. And we also have the problem of the setup cost, which could be high. Our threats mostly are the growing demand of the SCGs as a material, but also dependence on the subcontracting factory.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Aha, good.
Oh, I don't hear, sorry.
Solved. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't hear you, I'm sorry.
You can continue.
You can continue.
Oh, okay.
Someone had their mic on, it's off now.
Oh, okay, thank you. And so I was in the threats, and also because of this technology, there could be also another technology could substitute ours, which is always a risk in this. And if we start as a startup, we will always have the challenge of generate cash flow quickly and to have a rentability while starting. So now we have our proof of concept already, and we are helped and supported by scientists, which is very helpful for us because we are still students and the field could be sometimes very specific and difficult. So we are helped with a PHA scientist, microbiological scientist, in lean also, and food sciences in its generality. And we have a laboratory available and a team for research. We are now in a startup incubation program, and I'm currently in their premises. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm here now, and the program is also today, so I will go after the presentation. And above all, we have our first prototype now. And I don't know, I hope you can see it from the camera, but here is in the laboratory scale or PHB from Spain coffee grounds. Don't know if it's visible like this. So we already have help by partnerships or organizations now. And because we are online, we wanted to present ourselves a bit more now. So my name is Antonin. I'm a food engineering student. I'm still in a double diploma with a business school now. So my field of studies are mostly engineering, and especially in food industry with microbiology and business development and entrepreneurship.
And I'm Marketa, and I'm a business student specialized on sustainability and ESG, but I have knowledge from many fields like public affairs, project management, people development, and others.
So why are we here today? Because we think this context is an opportunity for us to develop, and we really want to take this project to the next level. So thanks to your help and advices, and also with networking, we want to improve this project, and we also need money for consulting and scaling and industrial setup, to have professional analysis of rentability, and to improve our process, and later for funding and investors. So we wanted to ask you, do you have any recommendation to help us? Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you. A bit over time, but the other clock is running already. Please stop sharing and we start giving all kinds of recommendations, I suppose.
Thank you.
Manfred as a first. No, not again. You're muted.
Congratulations, Antonin, and the whole team for this presentation and the project. You are really working on a total biorefinery concept, valorizing everything what is in coffee ground. Now, I learned that PHB is your main product you target.
Yes.
And you want also to extract polyphenols and carotenoids.
Yes.
My question is, did you check whether this will give a profitable business extracting all compounds and ingredients, or should the recommendation to us to be better to focus only on the main product, the PHB? So did you check the profitability, the economics of the side products?
We know it's better because if we only focus on PHP, because we need to extract oil first, we have a problem with weight and quantities, because we will only focus on 10% of the raw material we would use.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to find all the future for this solid fraction, solid part. That's why we went into biorefinery process to extract other things and then to burn it to cover part.
Okay. Thank you.
Simona, please.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I was wondering how the variety of the raw material is affecting then the production process.
Yeah, there is a difference between coffee shop, between Spain coffee grounds, depending if it's like a filter coffee or from a coffee shop. From the quality, it will differ. Few things as pH and acidity, mostly. We already noticed that during the test. So we will need to standardize our raw materials to not have too many variation depending from the sourcing we use.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Lene?
I just want to ask, you didn't mention much, but in your written material, it says that you are using the C indicator, the bacteria. The Cupriavidus.
negative.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And I wonder why you would chose that, because that is, I mean, it's not considered to be anything close to handle or anything, because it's not a nice food compatible or anything materials and so on. I wonder, because it could be workers' health and so on, it's not considered good.
Oh, because it's the one outputting the higher yields for the moment, as I saw during paperworks, and because on research already done, it was always the one used, and the difference of yields are very high, and so it will be a challenge also to have a clean and food product without problem with bacteria.
Okay, consider once again, but there are other options, but
okay.
time is short.
Kevin.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much, Keith. Yeah, maybe I'm not aware of it, Lena. I'm well aware of Necator. I didn't realize that it was not a class 3 organism.
Oh, it's not. It's not so dangerous. No.
Yeah, so I actually thought it was considered grass, but anyway, we can look at that, or you can look at that. Can I ask about the genetic modification? Is it on the coffee oil use, or is it on the PHA production? What have you genetically modified?
It's a bacteria which would be modified because with this modification, it will increase its yields of transformation PHB during fermentation.
Okay, so but is it because you want to improve the oil consumption, or is it that you
yes,
want?
exactly. So we can yes, depending of the sources of scientists' reviews, is between 82 and 89% of PHB production.
Yeah, and how stable have you made this genetically modified organism, and do you know how stable it is? Because that's a huge problem as you scale. Yeah.
No, I don't know yet.
Okay, it's just to consider that as you scale, the stability of your organism comes into question. So just make sure you do a good bit of research on that. But it's a nice idea, yeah?
Thank you. When you say stability, do you mean during a fed-batch fermentation?
Yeah, during the fed-batch fermentation, as you're trying to increase your productivity, because your volumetric productivity is really important. So you will try to push, because you have an internal product, the product is inside the cell, you have to push the density of your cells to quite a high level, which is well described in the literature. But as you do that, you get subpopulations within the fermenter, and you get bugs throwing out genes. Yeah, they start to throw things out in order to survive. That can then impact your PHB. Yeah.
Depends on the length of the fermentation, obviously. Manfred.
Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. Using coffee grounds sounds as if the cost of the raw material is zero, but on the other hand, collecting might be expensive. So, at which cost do you calculate the raw material?
It will depend on the area we scale to set up. So firstly, for the beginning, we would like to focus on one city, for example, to collect it from few points of production as coffee shops and restaurants or coffee vending machines. So firstly, we could do it with our simple ways, but then it will be another problem, yes, for a larger scale.
Yep. I am a ground coffee collector myself. And then I grew pleurotis on it, which was in the presentations earlier today. And here you say we don't do autoclaving. I'm not going to describe the amount of fungus and spectacular colors that I found on the spent coffee. And eventually I stopped doing it. So I can imagine that with your primary extraction of the oil, you can rid of a lot of stuff, but probably not everything. I think you should really be aware of that, because a fungal infection will be there and you won't see it. So that's a point of concern, I think. Lena.
Can I add to that? That it is there are several, as Case is saying, several serious molds which are actually growing, and you have to be very cautious there in that sense. But if you want to go down the non-food direction, it's of course of less concern. But even the handling of it, I mean, some of the we have had very serious molds with mycotoxin production found on coffee. So one have to. But I have to admit, I was wrong, Kevin. You were right. I mistook. My mycologist is not a bacteriologist. Nicada is a grass organism. So sorry about that. I'm happy I got the chance to correct it.
Okay, good.
Thank you. And we were thinking about maybe buffer beans in the restaurant or coffee shop to develop a solution to reduce the activity of water during conservation. So it could reduce molding and not bacteria, but development at least.
But you know, Case, what Case is saying with the pleurotus, are you aware of that almost all of what you have been describing, you are getting out of the coffee, you can also get out of the coffee ground while you have harvested pleurotus ahead of everything else?
Yeah,
because
there is
so
actually
much
a,
is
a
left.
company in Rotterdam that does that. So in the logistic aspect, you could contact them from how do you do it? In the city of Rotterdam, I think it's about the same size as Prague. So might be interesting to check on them.
We have made a whole product of that for food, and the only thing which goes wrong is regulatory doesn't want to recognize the mycelium to be a food product. It has to go down novel food. So, but I mean, you can do fungi up front and then the rest.
Okay, we are running out of time. Thank you very much, Anthony.
Thank you so much.
And Marketa, I could not imagine having a better first name being in marketing than Marketa, but okay, you must have heard that 1,000 times. Thank you. We move on to Iceland. With a very Icelandic name, Liam O'Malley. I can hear you. Or I hear Sigrun.
I will. Yes, that's me. Sigrun, can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
Okay, perfect. I will start. Can you see the screen?
Much better view.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
Okay, perfect. First off, hello and thank you so much for having me. My name is Sigrun Emilia Karlsdóttir, and I'm here today to represent Iceland. And we are excited to introduce you to our product, Charpo. At Charpo, our mission is to restore ecosystem nutrient cycles using organic waste streams. So let me start by introducing the team. First, like I said earlier, my name is Sigrun Emilia Karlsdóttir. I'm a biotechnology student at the University of Akureyri. I have experience with waste cycles in aquaponics and using fungi for waste decomposition and cultivation with locally sourced materials. Next up, we have Liam O'Malley, a soil conservation forestry student at the Agriculture University of Iceland. Liam is the backbone of our project, and his hands-on experience managing his own land has laid the groundwork for numerous research projects. Finally, we have Mant BK. He is also a student at the Agriculture University of Iceland. He specializes in using food industry waste, soil amendments. His research includes testing Icelandic sheep wool pellets as a slow-release nitrogen fertilizer, comparing them to commercially available options from Germany. And we are all bachelor students. Now to the problem at hand. In Iceland, the lack of vegetative cover is a critical issue, and much of our land is essentially a barren desert. Tens of thousands of hectares are devoid of vegetation and very vulnerable to erosion. This erosion threatens our infrastructure and communities. Managing this land is also very expensive, especially with the rising cost of fertilizer and labor costs associated with application, posing serious challenges to both agriculture and soil conservation. Furthermore, the management of food industry waste in Iceland has been inadequate, to say the least. Only a couple of years ago, we relied on burning or just burying these wastes. These practices can disrupt our ecosystem nutrient cycles. Yet, these waste streams are rich in organic material that, if properly processed, could be transformed into valuable fertilizers, helping to restore our soils and support sustainable agriculture. Yes. This slide shows the nutrient web in ecosystems, highlighting how plants, microbes, fungi, and animals interact to sustain life. Plants absorb essential nutrients like nitrates, phosphates, trace minerals from the soil. These nutrients then cycle through animals and microbes, and saprotrophic fungi and nutrient-fixing bacteria playing key roles in breaking down organic matter and enriching the soil. Healthy ecosystems rely on these interactions to regenerate and maintain fertility. However, disruptions like poor waste management can break these cycles, leading to soil degradation. Our solution, charcoal, taps into these natural processes, transforming waste into nutrient-rich fertilizers that restore and sustain these essential cycles. Now, traditional compost often face challenges. They're difficult to spread with machines, have low nutrient density, and can harbor harmful pathogens if not properly processed. Charcoal offers a solution to this. We have developed a method to create lightweight, nutrient-dense organic fertilizers from waste streams. Charcoal is pathogen-free and easily spreadable using standard agricultural machinery. The manufacturing process consists of 3 steps. First, fermentation. We ferment nutrient-rich substrates in climate-controlled vats using specialized microbes. These strains of archaea and bacteria effectively break down waste materials into a more nutrient-available forms while eliminating harmful pathogens. Second, the resulting nutrient solution is impregnated into a finely milled biochar, which prevents salt formation. Finally, we dehydrate the solution to lock the nutrients into the biochar. This ensures a slow release effect, providing plants with the nutrients they need over time, reducing the risk of nutrient runoff and soil salification. This slow release also helps in cutting down labor costs of reapplying fertilizers. Our product not only enhances soil health, but also integrates seamlessly with existing soil conservation equipment. This means there is no need to invest in new machinery, reducing the cost and making charcoal an efficient and sustainable solution for restoring Iceland's nutrient cycles. So essentially, we are creating a circular economy. By turning waste into a valuable resource, we can reduce environmental impact and create new value-added chains. This approach not only addresses the issues of waste management and nutrient cycling, but also fosters sustainable practices that benefit both agriculture and natural ecosystems. Now, in our proof of concept trials, we've selected a range of organic materials, each serving a specific purpose. Chicken manure from local farms provides a rich source of nitrogen. Blood and bone meal from rendering plants supplies essential phosphorus. Hardwood ash offers a variety of trace minerals critical for plant health, and crushed eggshells are used to add calcium, supporting cell walls in plants. And lastly, bokashi cultures are introduced for multiple benefits. They supply trace minerals, help maintain a balanced pH, and contain microbes that break down waste and eliminate potential pathogens. This characteristic of bokashi fermentation is supported by international research. These materials not only contribute vital nutrients, but also ensure that our fertilizer is both effective and safe to use. Now, what we've done so far with charcoal, we've conducted a small-scale germination trial using bokashi serum and wood ash in seedling capsules for downy birch, which resulted in an impressive 87% germination rate. This is significantly higher than the 80% claimed by the seed provider and far above the 33% seen in traditional germination studies. We're currently running a second germination trial with downy birch and lodgepole pine. While it's still early, both species have been successfully germinated in the charcoal medium and appear to be healthy. We've also tested nutrient availability, samples of aquaceous extracts from rehydrated and filtered charcoal mixes have been sent to the USDA, and we're eagerly awaiting the results. Additionally, we have a small in vitro study underway to test barley's ability to germinate and grow in the charcoal medium. So far, no signs of nutrient deficiencies or issues with salinity has been observed, suggesting that charcoal is a promising medium for crop growth. These initial trials showed that charcoal not only supports strong germination, but also holds the potential for broader agriculture applications. As we look to the future, there are several key areas we need to focus on. First, we'll conduct studies to validate existing research on the ability of bokashi cultures to degrade bacterial pathogens. This will involve acroplate cultures and approximately 2 weeks of lab work, likely in collaboration with the Icelandic Food and Safety Administration. Next, we aim to explore the potential of Bacillus subtilis and Bacillus ligniform, to break down keratin-based waste, such as feathers, hooves, horns, and wool. Additionally, we plan to investigate how these bacteria can degrade prion proteins. Although this will require navigating strict safety regulation due to the pathogenic nature of prions. We'll conduct greenhouse and field trials over several years to test charcoal's effectiveness across different applications, including agriculture and ecosystem remediation. These trials will also help us understand the long-term impacts of charcoal on soil health and productivity. Finally, we'll complete a comprehensive business plan, including financing strategies to support both scaling of charcoal once we confirm its viability. Thank you so much. And if there are any questions, please ask.
Well, first, please stop sharing and let me compliment you. That was an excellent presentation with special attention to your English. Beautiful. So,
thank you so much.
As a start, what I disliked is that you nicked off my question that was on prions. And I bet you a bottle of wine that enzymes are not capable of destructing prions. And now the floor is open for Sophia.
Thank you. It was indeed a great presentation, and I really like the project, the work. I would like to ask you to go a little bit deeper into the process, because probably I misunderstood it. You have different raw materials from which you produce charcoal, right? And then you mix them. I didn't realize, how would you do that? You have feedstock, and then you, for example, you saw that you told that specific materials were aiming for specific nutrients, but how you do that in the procedure itself?
Okay.
Liam might know this one.
Sorry, I was like, yeah, no, I'm trying to hear what you were saying. Could you repeat that, please?
Me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. You in the presentation you refer different feedstocks, different materials to obtain different nutrients.
Yeah.
But may I miss the process? You treat each one individually. You obtain charcoal from each one individually, and you mixed it.
This is one of the lovely things about it is we can run 90% of the problematic materials through the same process, and it results in, non-pathogenic materials.
All in the same procedure with the same temperature, same timings?
Well, I mean, so if we're talking about bacterial pathogens, vast majority of them, they degrade at around the same pH and around the same temperature.
But I was talking about the feedstock, the original material that you used to obtain the charcoal.
Yeah. I mean, we have bacterial pathogens that degrade at around pH 3.5. So the only other issue that we have is prion proteins, which they're a bit more complicated.
Slightly. You can say that again. Yeah.
Sorry,
Thanks.
I'm stuck in an airport right now, so I really need you to speak up.
Yep. Lena will do.
I will do. I have a question or a small remark, because otherwise I think you made a beautiful presentation. But this with the keratin waste materials, you have to take care, because if you are having too much keratin, you
Well,
are up.
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but keratin is one of the things that has been pissing me off for a long time. So keratin rich materials, they tend to have this about 130 to maybe 260 cysteine disulfate bond. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's sort of what makes keratin. And this is also the exact problem that you have with misfolded prion proteins. So keratinases tends. I'm not saying it's like a 100%, but keratinases tend to break down prion proteins. And this is very interesting, especially for processing of municipal wastes or food industry wastes.
Could you allow me to put my question? Because I was going in a different direction.
Sorry.
Be aware of that keratin is leading in a soil, is leading to a strong growth of dermatophytic fungi. When I have done many types of experiments on this, because I wanted to find keratinases, new keratinases to break down the keratin. And I said, I'll never do that again, because you get such a dangerous high occurrence of dermatophytes. You specifically bait for more dermatophytic fungi in the soil.
No, I mean, like, I haven't studied this particularly, but yeah, I mean, it makes absolute sense. I think this is one of those situations where we need to sort of reinforce natural processes in order to have a breakdown of these materials. But no, I absolutely have not looked at that. I just, as somebody who owns hens and sheep, I tend to think a lot about, like, why can't I break this material down into,
But we have made an enzyme process to break it down for animal feed. But I don't want to take more time.
No,
that's okay.
I would really love to
Thank
hear
you
about
so
that,
much
actually.
for. Yeah.
You can contact Lena by mail, no problem. Manfred, please.
But I was wondering why you stress the pathogens so much. What is the source of these pathogens, and what do you mean by pathogens? Are these human pathogens or plant pathogens? So why is this so important? And what is the source of these pathogens?
Oh, I mean, realistically, if it breaks something down, it's a pathogen. So we have pathogenic bacteria, which are breaking down keratins. But in terms of what we're trying to control for, we have whatever it is, pathogens that affect livestock. And these are particularly problematic for livestock. So if we have bacteria that lower the pH to a degree where this is no longer active, it's deactivated, it's destroyed or whatever, then we don't have a problem incorporating this back into soil. Sorry, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Kevin, did I see your hand or is it?
I have no idea. I only have connection via my phone.
But we see each other, no problem. Kevin, did you still have a question or not?
No, it was the same question as Manfred.
Okay. Well, then, if there are no more questions, I wish you a safe flight. And I hope it's on time. And we take a break until 15:20. See you in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day.
Thanks.
Well, Team Belgium, are you ready?
Yes, we are ready.
Dat dacht ik al. Okay, please share your screen and then you're ready to go. Yeah, you're on. Please go ahead.
Okay. Wait, experience slides, technical issue. All right. Hello, everybody. What do you... Hello, everybody. What do you see before you right now? One of the most iconic skylines in the world, clouded in smoke. And what is the cause of this? What if I told you you're looking at it right now? The concrete industry is responsible for 7% of all the global carbon dioxide emissions. The same concrete that is building our beautiful cities is also what's clouding them in smoke. This is a huge problem, and we need to find a solution. This is why we present to you CharBuild. With CharBuild, we will be pyrolyzing biomass to create biochar. We can then incorporate this biochar as an additive into our concrete production in order to permanently sequester carbon and take it out of the atmosphere for good. Additionally, we can then harness the energy within the biomass as a fuel source for our process. What do we offer you? First of all, carbon sequestration. For every ton of CharBuild that we build, 50 kilograms of CO2 equivalents are taken out of the atmosphere forever. Second of all, energy efficiency. In order to produce clinker in the concrete production, the ingredients need to be heated up to 1400 degrees Celsius. This requires a tremendous amount of fuel, which is often from fossil fuels such as oil, coal, or oil. By using the byproducts of our pyrolysis, which are bio-oil and biogas, we can reduce this fuel demand by 50%. To make a huge impact. Additionally, what is the point of building with a sustainable concrete if it doesn't last? This is why we're happy to inform you that incorporating just small amounts of biochar can improve compressive strength by up to 29% and flexural strength by up to 19%. Additionally, it can improve insulation by up to 50%. This happens due to the porous nature of the biochar, which can then impede heat flow within the material. This will decrease our thermal conductivity and therefore increase insulation. Now I'll take you a bit more in detail through our process. First, we start from a biomass source. This can currently we're looking at two sources. These are spent coffee grounds, which we obtain as a waste product from producers of instant coffee. And additionally, we're also looking into sludge from wastewater treatment plants. These are then pyrolyzed, which means they are heated up to 500 degrees, as in an oxygen-free environment, which can produce biochar, bio-oil, and biogas. The biochar, the bio-oil, and biogas are evaporated and then brought to our rotary kiln, where they are incinerated to heat the limestone and the clay for the cement production. And then the residual, which is the biochar, can then later be added as an additive in order to get cement, and from cement we can get concrete. Because a lot of interesting possibilities come from directly integrating our fuel source to our incinerator, we are looking to improve this even further with our new and integrated reactor design. In this reactor, we can combine, on one hand, the pyrolysis, and on the other hand, the cement production into one integrated process. In this manner, we can optimize energy efficiency while also minimizing capital costs and operational costs because we have only one reactor to deal with. For the design of this prototype, we've taken existing principles from the process industry, but also the treatment of medical waste, and combined them for an integrated reactor. We are currently looking with the University of Ghent into protecting this design, which is why we cannot show it to you in detail. So as I mentioned before, we can reduce fuel demand by 50%. But how did we get this number? So we are currently working at a 5% biochar concentration, which means for 1 ton of concrete, we will add 50 kilograms of biochar. For 50 kilograms of biochar, we need 180 kilograms of a biomass source. From this, we get, along with the biochar, bio-oil and biogas. This bio-oil and biogas has an energy content of 1900 megajoules. We only need 200 megajoules to fuel the process, which means we are left with 1700 megajoules for the production of our concrete. Since around 3400 megajoules are needed in total, this is a reduction of 50%. According to most economical sources, around 30% of the total cost of concrete production come from fuel costs. By cutting this in half, this would mean a 15% price reduction. At this rate, we're likely giving away bricks.
Is char-built economically viable? Yes, char-built guarantees very competitive pricing to all of our clients. We can do this because the production cost of char-built is the same as for every other concrete out there. It's about 80 euros per ton. But what is it gonna cost us? Well, we would need an initial investment of about 680,000 euros to buy the building we want to work in and our reactor parts. Besides, we would need an additional 1,300 euros per day to keep our company running. This would include labor costs, logistics, and electricity. This is all calculated on a scale of 89 tons per day. And a very important note here is that these calculations are done with information that we found online. But as our reactor is completely new and highly efficient, we actually think that our OPEX would be a bit lower. So, is char-built actually sustainable? Of course it is. Every other concrete company out there produces around 900 kilograms of carbon dioxide emissions per ton of concrete they produce. We can easily bring it down to at most 590 kilograms. This is a reduction of at least 34%. We can do this because we reuse our energy and also because we use a waste stream that would otherwise be landfilled, and we store that carbon into our concrete forever. So our next steps will be, first of all, researching other waste streams, such as sludge, that has the advantage of being continuous and centralized. So the logistics would be easier, and we think that that would be the best option when we scale up. After that, we will look into building a prototype of our reactor to get rid of potential initial challenges and find the most optimal biochar concentration. With the information we have here, we will look into scaling up the process and find the lowest heating requirements possible. Now, why should you invest in char-built? Well, first of all, because it's an innovative new process. It's a completely new type of integrated reactor with huge potential. We lower climate change by doing carbon sequestration. Char-built is stronger and more insulating than your regular concrete. And last but not least, it is in high demand by the construction industry. So why wouldn't you buy concrete that's stronger, more sustainable, and at the same price? This is why we believe in char-built, and so should you.
Well, that was it, I suppose.
Yes.
Okay, stop sharing, please. Well within time. The floor is open for questions. Lena is the first.
Yes, thank you. I love that you are working on sustainable substitution for concrete, but I really advise that you start not with using coffee ground, which has much higher potential of valorization, and for instance, go directly to your sludge or another type of wet and dirty and where not food grade compatibility. So, or food grade potential. So that would be my sincere advice.
Okay, thank you.
Same question as I had, and if you need some sludge, we have a few in the country just above you, don't worry. Kevin.
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, very interesting talk. Really, really nice. I'm actually going to go to the end of your talk, and you talked about a 34% reduction in the CO2 equivalents because of the introduction of this carbon. You're trapping this carbon inside in the concrete. You're replacing some of the concrete with this new carbon. Is there a European target for reducing CO2 emissions from either concrete or the construction industry?
Yeah, this is actually a very hot topic because, as we mentioned at the start, the concrete industry is one of the most CO2 producing industries. Currently, I'm not sure about legislation, but the European Union has put a big effort into punishing very emissive companies financially by introducing a CO2 limit. And above this, they will need to buy CO2 in the form of carbon credits. So in this way, they try to, disadvantage more emissive companies. Additionally, there's only a certain barrier in which they can buy the CO2, and above that is just purely fines. I found an interesting article recently that says that currently around 10% of the total production costs of concrete is in just paying CO2 fines.
Yes, I think that's really important. I think you should look maybe more into that, because one of your key selling points could be that you will help companies to stay within the legislation that they can operate. Companies will pay an enormous amount of money to not disrupt their business. So I think you need to look at that and have that in your unique offering. I can't remember the exact term, but your unique selling point, your USP, because this could be really valuable. Because I know of other projects where they can show, for example, farmers that they have products that can reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 30%. That brings farming right inside the red line, or not outside the red line, or beyond the red line. So you have something very interesting here, and I think you need to look at legislation because it could be very valuable. Okay,
there is a target. You find a target for 2030 of 30% down as compared to 1990, but it's not a law.
Yeah, but there is a target.
There is a target. There is a target.
Did
you do all the standard testing on the concrete because there were a few incidents recently of parking garages and stuff. Is it the same as normal concrete?
Do you mean the strength? Or?
Yeah.
So as we mentioned before, there have been a lot of studies conducted into incorporating biochar as an additive. The main, actually, this is very promising, but the main disadvantage this has is really the price of biochar, which is, if you just buy it, is very expensive. So this is why this is not done a lot. But there have been a lot of studies proving that compressive strength and flexible strength can be improved, because these biochar particles, they are very small, and they can actually work as a kind of, it can absorb energy, so to say, from above, and therefore improve compressive strength.
I'm buying that. Manfred, please.
My question goes in the same direction. Concrete needs to be registered for the different applications. For which application, housing, for example, or high-tech, or other ceilings, for which application do you develop your product?
So we have not we have not tied ourselves down to a specific application so far. This is because the addition of biochar is relatively early in the process. We can go a lot of different directions with this. Because of the improved insulation properties, we were maybe thinking that this would be more suitable for residential buildings or office buildings. But we can actually go any way we want because of the flexibility.
Okay. Sophia?
Thank you for your explanations. It was a great presentation. Can you clarify if your procedure that is confidential can be applied to different technologies completely off the frame that we are talking about, that has the potential for other innovative products?
Potentially, yes. So the main idea behind our one reactor design is just there's a lot of heat loss going on in either side. It's just an inevitable fact of exothermic processes. They will lose heat. So by integrating them, we can minimize our heat loss and just use the heat for the pyrolysis, also for the heating of the drinker. And so the main challenge that we faced is just keeping them sufficiently separated in order to achieve this. But we have not necessarily thought about other industries now.
But we could use it for every other application that needs two separate streams of exothermic processes.
So it can be a product itself. A product
Yeah.
that can be commercialized itself. Yes.
A license. Yeah. Okay. Simona.
Okay. Yes. I was wondering. Yeah, you are trying to enter a market that is not too easy, really easy to be penetrated. So, which will be your approach here, and which could be your market share? So probably you will need a legal push, or yeah, or what are you thinking about it?
Yeah. This is an interesting question. We had also thought about this because concrete is a very capital intensive industry. So we have two ways to go about this. First of all, if we protect our design, we can pitch it to existing companies and maybe start a collaboration. But otherwise, if we want to enter the market ourselves, because we discussed earlier the wastewater treatment sludge, because sludge is centrally organized by the government. And the government also has certain quotas of when they produce buildings, they need a certain quota of green concrete that they incorporate into this. We were hoping if we get a deal with the government for the collection of the sludge, we could perhaps leverage this into getting them as a potential customer. This is another avenue we thought about.
Right, thanks.
Manfred?
Yeah, as a reviewer, I have to review also the aspect of circular economy. And my question is, do you consider recycling of your concrete?
Yes, we have thought about this. This is also a big advantage of incorporating biochar. It does not, it is very much, once the char is made, is very much elemental carbon. And this will not, dissipate out of the concrete over time. So if we want to recycle the concrete, it's not like the biochar will seep out of it or something. It's firmly ingrained in the structure. And if we, at any point, want to recycle this, the carbon will stay put inside of the material.
Thank you.
I just put in the chat, if you can read it later on, a link to a collab in Portugal that is dedicated to the cement industry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Check them out. You didn't know that, Sophia, huh? Did you? Interesting group. Well, any other questions? No, we don't, because this is the last second and now it's beeping. Thank you very much. We switch to the last, but certainly not the least team of the day. which is Ireland from UCD, obviously. Are you ready? You're already on screen. Wow. Go ahead and start, please.
Okay, because it's such a long day, I think everybody's tired, but I promise our project is amazing. So let's start it. Okay, so our pilot product is the omega-3 oil to produce premium pet food from microalgae, because our pet deserve the best. So let's see some lovely pictures from our pet. The benefit of omega-3 oil for our pets, including support their heart health, and also their skins, to relieve their pains, to boost their immune system, or even fight for the cancer. But nowadays, the common source of the omega-3 oil is from wild-caught fish, which is quite unsustainable, have a lot of environmental issues, and with high cost. So we are looking for the alternative of fish oil, which is microalgae oil. Microalgae contains great level of lipids, carbohydrates, protein, and also with lower cost, lower environmental impact, more sustainable and reliable, also suitable for vegan. And respect to the microalgae oil, we are culture microalgae oil. Instead of using the standard medium, we use the waste from 80 plant. And this is the novel approach to culture microalgae, because 80 plant can process the organic waste from agriculture, food sector, and after fermenting, they can generate biogas, but also they produce digestate. So the liquid digestate is nutritional, rich in nitrogen and phosphate. So microalgae could be the novel application from the AD output. And our innovation is start from food waste, then go to anaerobic digestion. The digestate will subject to series of treatments, make it suitable for microalgae to grow. Then after harvest the microalgae, we can produce our primary bioproduct, is the omega-3 oil, and further go to the premium pet food. So the AD plant will be our supplier, and then go to the lab to analyze the composition of the liquid digestate. Then the serial treatments, including dilution, centrifugation, filtration, then make the liquid digestate suitable for microalgae to grow. Then we inoculate the microalgae species in the bioreactor. After several weeks, we can harvest them, dewatering them, then to extract lipid from the biomass. Further go to the lipid purification to have the omega-3 oil. Then package them to distribute them, send them to our pet foods customers. So let's go to some details. Our liquid digestates will go to dilutions, centrifugations, filtration to reduce the turbidity and remove the pathogens. Then to inoculate microalgae species in the bioreactor. After several weeks, we can harvest them to extract lipid. Then further to purification our microalgae oil product. This page showed the composition of microalgae biomass. The total lipid content is about 30 to 50% of biomass weight. The EPA level, the omega-3 level, could be 10% of biomass weight. And expect to the carbohydrates, protein, lipids, there's still a lot of vitamins and minerals in the microalgae, and also the total phenolic component and flavonoid component, which has the great level of antioxidant activity, and also our biomass